what's up, guys? This is going to be a crazy, crazy show. Let me get my mic set up. So if I just hurt people's ears, you're welcome. Now, this is going to be an awesome show. Before we get into it, I want to give you a little bit of a preview. We're going to talk about liquidity. So in the crypto community and in specifically like the hex type community, a lot of people don't understand liquidity. Like, so what is it? And then like how it works. And then we're going to talk about how V2 works specifically versus how V3 works for Uniswap. And because they work differently, we get a big, it's hard to not stress this enough. You have an advantage here by watching this to understand how to see the market that most people don't see, because they don't understand what is happening with the version 2 versus version 3 of Uniswap. But there's a massive difference in what you can see about what's going to happen into the market, supply and demand, right? Liquidity is everything in crypto. Yes. Supply and demand. And V3 allows us to, metaphorically speaking, if you were to drive through the forest without headlights, with no street lamps, no light of any sort, would you be able to drive fast in the country like that? No. In the middle of the night? No, right? There's no light. But what if I have headlamps? Then I can drive faster than you. Because I have headlamps, I get to see further into the future in the case of V3 versus V2. I have those headlamps metaphorically when you know what's going on with the liquidity in terms of supply and demand. And we're going to talk about that in some way that, in a way that nobody else, I haven't found one person talk about it in this manner. And this new data is extremely, extremely valuable. And also, right, does it make sense because of this? Well, most people are not going to understand it until they watch this video, right? So we're at the beginning stages of like this information getting out to the market. If I'm sharing this with the world, you would like to think that there's probably another one of me type people around the world that is doing a similar thing in their regard. Although I might be the first person who's really like putting this stuff together for the internet. I got a little presentation to go through here for you. So without further ado, we're going to get into that. But if you'd like to support the channel, you can check out links down below, Twitter, Instagram, etc. If you enjoy this type of content, if you're here and you're like, wow, this is fucking going to be dope as fuck, then you should take a second and press the share button over to Twitter, tag me, share this out. Actually, I think I already did. So I will share this into the stream here and do me a sally and drop this over on Twitter. Right, so I'm going to pull up this tweet and share it now into the chat. Go to Twitter and retweet that shit, please. Thank you. Okay, now let's touch on these comments, and then we will get into getting really effing deep into liquidity. Dustin, evening. Let's get it, Sam. Appreciate you coming by, bro. Modern simplicity. What's good? I like the name. And is it an ear emoji? You're listening. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. OB, what's good? Got a couple good comments here. Liquidity is everything. Supply and demand in crypto, as well as V3 is a brilliant tool, not only for liquidity, but also to sell your tokens and earn fees. Yes, but the information that comes forth because of V3 is far more powerful, in my opinion, than being able to, with the magnitude of like how this could impact things, being able to sell your tokens and earn fees. I think it's going to be a really big impact. Is it going to be bigger than those? I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a big piece of information. Unsuitable, yes. I was just like, I need to go share this with somebody because I think it is super valuable. So I wanted to come live again And hopefully this is valuable to somebody who's watching, because that's what I'm trying to do. Although I get LPs, still not convinced doing it due to impermanent loss. Well, my friend, impermanent loss is not actually a loss. If you're not aware of that, impermanent loss is not a US, you're not losing, so to speak. It's the opportunity. It's an opportunity cost. So you being here, right, is an opportunity cost for you to do something else that could get more value out of. I'm hoping you're not going to get, I don't think you will get more value, especially if you're interested in crypto. This is going to be the fucking shit. But this is an opportunity cost, right? Where you could go fucking watch Dancing with the Stars or listen to Dancing with the Stars. That's all impermanent loss is. It's not crazy. You're nothing like that's, there's no actual loss. So hopefully that's helpful. General scroll, what's good? Yeah, get in the likes, guys. Press the like button. The share is actually, so I was doing some research. To sell coins makes 100% sense. So you should check out Liquidity a little bit more, just so you have an understanding of the market, I feel like. Personally, my thoughts on that, even if you just do it with like $20 or something on BSC, just so you get an understanding of just taking those steps. I find it very valuable personally. Latin America, what's good in the house? We're about to get into this. Richard Hart would be a complete ass clown moron if he launches Pulse Chain without a Uniswap V3 license. Oh, those are some very strong words, Latin America. But I kind of agree. Especially after this video, like people will start to understand the importance of V3. I didn't get the importance of V3 to begin with. Like I got into crypto, I don't know, 10 months ago, roughly. I made the switch from Tesla to get into crypto. And I heard about Uniswap. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me figure out how to use this. So I just started with a very, very, very tiny amount. I think it was like $75. I was like, let me put this in here and buy some hex. Like talk about what these fucking crazy communities doing, right? Like no idea what the fuck they're talking about, but let me take some of the steps that they talk about. It's less than $100. So if I fuck shit up, cool. It's $100. I fuck shit up, right? So I did that. And I think I already had that in my account on Coinbase. So I had Coinbase up. I knew how to like send transactions and stuff like that. But that was pretty much the extent. And I did not have a wallet, like a treasure or anything like that. And now, so much time later, I do have that appreciation for V3 that I didn't at that time. Because I think without all the learnings of the last 10 months, there's no way I would be able to understand V3 at this level. Like it's wait until the end of the video till you see all this information. 2 more comments and we're getting into it. I know what it is. My concern is providing liquidity and my bag coin count decreasing, but you're just going to be in one side or the other. So just do it with something that you like. Like it's like you like hacks, right? Is there anything else you like? Maybe you like Hedron, right? Maybe you like Icosa. Maybe you like Maxi. Or maybe you're like, I'm the shit with hacks and that's the only thing you're going to buy. Cool. Then you shouldn't provide liquidity. But if you like anything else, if you literally like anything else, you can provide liquidity and hold the shit that you fucking want and earn money to do so, right? If you like anything else, then just provide liquidity with that. Maxi, hacks, fantastical. Just provide liquidity on those 2 assets. Those you like them, and you earn these the entire time. It's amazing. Especially when one coin moves or the other. Hopefully you caught that last bit there. Ross, hacks, just hit the dislike and unsubscribe. Thanks, Sam. No problem, Ross. Thanks for stopping by. I'm curious what Uniswap V4 will bring. Squid, wait until we get into this video. I don't think most people understand V3, and to come out with V4 now might be kind of, well, it would be dope for us, right? Because at least I feel like I understand it to a much greater degree than I did. I know I do, than a lot of people in the marketplace, but also from a while back. Like I know I understand it better than fucking most people do because I use it. and I provide liquidity, and I provide ranges, and I do multiple different positions on multiple different networks, right? So it's not that I'm an expert, but I do it on a regular basis, right? So I get a little bit better of an understanding of that. And if they came out with V4, like they would just, it would be probably hard to pull people to really understand V4 because most people don't even know V3 at this point. You know what I mean? Dustin, I don't see the benefit of providing liquidity at Pulse Launch unless you have a massive amount of money, maybe when the market stables slightly. Well, I don't think that Pulse X is maybe the best place to provide liquidity on Pulse, right? If you've been watching my shit, then you know I like providing liquidity, and I really like V3. And I think that I will be able to beat anybody's returns or almost anybody's returns who provide liquidity on V2 on V3. That's all. Like I'm down for returns. That's all I'm after, right? And if I understand this at a deeper level, then I know I can get on average higher returns than somebody else in a different one, assuming they wanted to provide liquidity, like what Dustin mentions right here. Or like the reason to provide liquidity, holding two things that you like. If you hold more than two things in your wallet, then think about providing liquidity. You can hold both of those same things, and you can fucking earn money. What? Right? You like to drive a Ferrari and you like to live in a nice house. Well, what if you could do those things earning money, right? But they're just digital assets. And that's what this allows you to do. I have sent V3 liquidity for hex in a range between 400 and 700 hex per ETH only. And another liquidity range at 13,025 hex per ETH. I want to chill and wait. So you're waiting, but you're not earning fees then if you're outside of the range, dude. Like what are you trying to like sit in a position? Why would you're not earning any fees, dude? What's up, bro? Digital Farm, Ross Hex. How often do you adjust your range on your LP position? Why did you say you were pressing dislike, bro, and unsubscribed? I thought you stopped watching. Or did I misread that? Just hit the dislike and unsubscribe. Oh, by accident, maybe. But what's good? How often do I adjust my range? Well, let's think about this. On ETH and ETHW, I am providing liquidity on V3. On ETHW, I'm providing liquidity on 3 different platforms and like testing shit out, right? V3 and 2 versions of V2. And the information you can get is astonishing. And then on Ethereum mainnet, I'm on mainly V3. So when I think about adjusting the positions, you can't adjust V2 positions, obviously, but the V3 positions I do have on all the networks, because of the volatility with ETH and W, I initially tried some ranges and then I immediately expanded the range so that I don't have to do anything. It's just sitting in that range. It's probably been about 8 days or so. I think. I don't know exactly. And I was looking at it earlier, and I've earned, I don't know, almost over a $500 million Hedron, and I think 70,000 hex. So the returns are there. I'm like, it's a decently sized range, but there's just not a lot of liquidity relative to the amount of volume over there. And I'm not adjusting those positions, but the positions on V3 mainnet, I do adjust those positions because it's more competitive, right? It's more competitive over here. So I needed to change my behavior. I could do that over there if I felt like it, but you get into issues with liquidity because there's lower liquidity. So that one I'm more comfortable with just sitting here versus like if you do go all out to one side. So if somebody doesn't understand what concentrated liquidity is, let's just dive into the video and stop these questions. So it's been 15 minutes. Let's get into this. What is liquidity, right? Let's get into defining what this means, because in order for us to have a conversation, we have to be talking the same language, right? If I went to Mexico, right, and I was speaking to somebody that only spoke Spanish, do you think we're going to be able to communicate very well? No, you cannot. And that is what liquidity is like. We need to define what liquidity is. So I just did a Google search. Let's read what they fucking say and see how accurate we think this is. The availability of liquid assets to a market or company. So it's the availability of liquid assets to a market or company or person. I would add to that, or person. You and I are the people who are participants in a market, right? So I would say people there. I'd say that's accurate, right? To me, that's an accurate definition of what liquidity is. It's where the two parts of the market come together, right? Well, I have something else to share with you that talks about this. This was a tweet from around an hour and a half ago. If you're not following me on Twitter, you probably should be to get dope ass shit like this. Okay. Liquidity in an efficient market in the long run will always approximately be 50% on either side of the market. Now, if you believe this logic, when that happens, what happens when I'm getting lost reading my own fucking thing here? Believe this logic, then what happens when liquidity is not 50-50, right? 50% of the market is on one side, 50% of the market on the other side. I'm going to get into why I believe this to be true. And you can agree or disagree with me, as well as you can agree or disagree with the definition of liquidity. If you do, let us know what it is in the comments. And after I run through this, we will touch on the comments again, okay? But I'm going to go through this whole thing here before I get back into the comments. Now, I will share my screen a little bit differently, though, so it's easier for me to do that. So be patient. Now you're going to see everything here. You'll see your own comments as they come up here. Okay, so it tends to roll back to 50-50. What I've been doing for months now is providing liquidity, right? And I've been using V3 on mainnet. And then just recently, this option became available on ETH and W for very, very cheap, right? So I did that. I provided liquidity over there. And one of the things that you can see is how people provide liquidity. So let's take a look at what the F I'm talking about. If you go to uniswap.fish, right, you'll be able to see this. I'm going to pull up the, say, Hex Ethereum pair, and this will picture, I think somebody said a long fucking time ago, a picture, my friends, is worth 1,000 words. So I'm going to show you a picture because this will do a much better job of articulating what I'm trying to get across. See this, right? How does this picture look? Okay, perfect. Now, that's the wrong tab. Where the fuck was I? There we go. Okay. Those are some future things we're going to be getting into. Okay. This is the distribution of liquidity for Hex and ETH in the pool of 0.3%, right? What does that look like? Approximately 50% of liquidity on one side and 50% on the other side, right? If you go back to my tweet here, what does my tweet say? Liquidity in an efficient market in the long run will always approximate 50% on either side of the market. Now, if you believe this logic, then what happens when liquidity is not 50-50? So, my friends, what do you think happens? Do you think this is a normal phenomenon, right? Because this is what the argument's going to be based on. You believe this to be true. Like, let's check another pair, right? I'm not planning on doing this, but let's see what other ones look like. Let's see what Wrapped BTC, right? That's a pretty efficient pair. There's a lot of fucking volume. Let's see what theirs looks like. I think I've looked at this. Ah, look at that. So it does look different, right? It definitely does look different, but it's still, there's some on either side. It looks like there's more Ethereum right here. Now, when you go through and you believe this and you see it take place with Hex, right? We watch this. This is exactly how, and the reason, honestly, one of the reasons I think that other chart with BTC and ETH doesn't look like this, in all honesty, 100% straight up, I know why. Because a lot of fucking people in the market have no effing idea what the F they're doing. Period. Pretty simple. So, and I don't know if that's the case, if that's clouding the data over there. But if you look at the pair of Ethereum on Uniswap, Hedron, and Wrapped ETH, right? This has 188,000 liquidity, right? You've heard numbers on Twitter, people talking about, oh, that has no liquidity on ETH or ETHW, right? It'll be like $20,000, right? So what is, we understand this is kind of like the meeting point, right? When we go back to the liquidity, right? Let's go back 2 tweets here. Liquidity, the availability of a liquid asset to market. It's the availability of the asset to the market, right? That's all this is. When we look at this, there's 188,000 of availability between Hedron and ETH. That's it. Now, I'm going to make an argument here. You're going to have to follow along. Ethereum, remember this later on, Ethereum is tied to a lot of other assets. Think of how many assets Hedron is Ethereum is tied to. So physically it's slower because it's tied to so many other things. Like just because everything has to adjust relative to it, it's physically slower, right? There's one way you can think about this. Now, if you look over here, of the pool of 188,000, 118,000 is pooled ETH, right? So these numbers have changed since I started prepping for this video. So you're like, okay, cool. Well, simple math, right? I know that half of 188,000 is 94,000, right? 94,000. So you know that 94,000 of money on either side of the market would be 50% Hedron and 50% ETH, right? Well, we see that it's not here, right? It's at 118,000 of ETH, which means there's more ETH in the pool than there is Hedron, right? So let's take a look at this a little bit deeper. So this is from several minutes ago. Well, now we got to understand, before we take a look at this, we need to understand V2 versus V3 because this is going to get confusing, right? On V2, and this is why V2 sucks relative to V3. On V2, when you provide liquidity, let's pull up another one of these cool charts and I'll draw at the same time. Instead of looking off into space. When you, this is going to be liquidity. When you provide liquidity on V2, it's like providing liquidity. If this is the range of possible prices where the ratio could go before it gets crazy, say from like 0 to infinity, right? The prices, the ratio could go from anywhere from 0 all the way up to like some crazy, crazy high number in terms of the ratio, right? That's how you're thinking about these things because that's what an AMM bot does, right? Well, when you look at the ratio, right, or V2, when you look at V2, how does that distribution look that we were talking about? Remember, just a few moments ago, we were talking about the distribution on a market. It's 50% on one side and 50% on the other side, right? 50% of liquidity, this is V2, right? So let me make this clear that this is how V2 works, right? So we'll say whoa, that's really big. V2 liquidity. What do we just look at by V3? V3 has a completely different shape to its liquidity, right? If you looked at Hex, it was like this, right? It was something similar to that. If you looked at BTC and Ethereum, right? We looked at that pair. It was like something like this, right? Well, what happens when it's not like that, it tends to go back to like that. But before we get into that piece of it, and then we're going to get into some of the comments. Hope you guys are enjoying it. We understand where it goes, right? That's why the market, that's why V2 is built like that, because they wanted to put 50% on either side of the market, right? Like clearly this is how it's coded. But being more efficient means the concentration of the market is going to be at that point, right? That's where the most energy is going to flow to, is the center point of the market at efficient. When you have an efficient market, that's just how it works, right? One is artificially held there, the other's not. Now, let's get into why V3 utterly fucking dominates V2. Because you can see this data. You get to see the supply and the demand completely. Now, let's get into this, because this is where it will be interesting, right? When we take a look at this, this is what liquidity is, right? At the time, it was $180,000 worth of liquidity, right? So that's this number, 180. And the pooled with ETH, right, was 124. So that's this number. So we can calculate that Hedron is $56,000 worth, right? So let's do the ratio of those two things, right? That means 31% of that pile of blueness, right? That distribution curve, that histogram, whatever you want to call it, was Hedron. And 70% of that was Ethereum. Let me see if I can pull that up again real quick, so that people can actually visualize what this is. Computer being, I gotta get a new computer actually. I'm using a phone to get my internet right now through this tether with the computer. So that's why the internet fucks up, because I need a new computer. Okay, we get to see this distribution of how this looks, right? Well, what do you think happens? Now we're going to visualize this. What do you think happens when the price is over here? Do you think the market adjusts in an efficient market? I mean, like, you don't have to be a super duper thinker on this one. Like, you don't have to have a ton of function gray matter to know that's the case, right? Cool. So what does this mean? We know, right? This ratio in efficient markets is going to be 50-50. We know in relation to Hedron, ETH is going to drop in terms of percentage in the pool. That can happen multiple different ways, but I'll get into the case of why it's going to be Hedron that actually moves and not the withdrawal of ETH in a second. And we know that the 31% is going to go up, right? Closer to 50. 69 is going to come down, and the Hedron is going to go up. Like, remember this, right? The pink line is where the current price is. If the pink line's over here, this fucking shit moves. This is the market. So the market will move over here, right? Because that's how it fucking works. Now, how this is going to play out is going to be Hedron is going to gain in relation to ETH. And there's some crazy good reasons why, in my opinion. But before we get into those reasons why Hedron will, let's check the chat and see what's good with that. And then we'll get into the Hedron reasons. Okay. So where do we leave off here? Ross. Oh, let me stop sharing. It was a joke, but now I'm definitely going to do it. You fucker. He's just like, bang, bang. What's it? What's good, bro? That's in the crypto. I used to work for the military. Class in session. Yes, please. In a trending market, how often do you need to reset your range? It really depends on how narrow it was. In July, I provided a shitload of liquidity. And on average, during that month, I was changing my position up because I had a pretty narrow range. And remember, the price went up and down real quick there. Like, heck, came up to like 4 cents or 5 cents. Right? So I was adjusting I adjusted 20 times in 30 days, maybe. But probably, I didn't track it, but probably around 20 times. It was almost every other day or something like that. Chad, what's good, bro? MJ Money. Hey, it's great to see you here. I appreciate the support. And I remember you from a while back. Where do you use V3 on ETHW? I use a separate computer for my crypto. So if you guys are not doing that, I recommend that. But I use uniswap.hedron.pro. That's where I use it. Uniswap.hedron.pro. Bullish is in the hizzy. Guys, give me a bicep for bullish. Check out how big that fucking is, right? Give me a bicep in the chat for bullish. He put together this background, right? 2 seconds. And it's like, oh, cool. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. Latin America, what's good? When you have lack of liquidity on Wall Street, you get things happening like Lehman Brothers and shotgun weddings like Bear Stearns. Ooh. And in crypto, you can end up with things like Luna fiasco. Yes. Very, 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 very good point, sir. And it definitely why you should be paying attention to this shit, guys. You'll be getting ahead of everybody else. Also, which site can I use to calculate the fees on ETH F or ETH W? Currently, there's no calculator that I'm aware of. There's one. It's uniswap.fish. Uniswap.fish is for calculators on 2.0. And I'm going to continue getting through these comments. But if we're going to get into why that ratio. Remember that ratio between the pool is going to be Hedron is going to increase that ratio in that pool relative to like what actually takes place, because you can't see all this information in V2. Chad V3 versus Virgin V2. Yes, bro. It's literally like that. V3 is like so much better. This is why I think almost Richard Hart should like wait in the sense to like get the license for V3 just because it's so much better, right? Or at least like be incorporating V3 as soon as freaking possible in the protocol, right? I think a lot of people will be doing that. So being better prepared and like putting some thought into it, I think this community is probably a good place to do that. Because if you look at ETH and ETHW, who the fuck dominated that shit out of all of crypto? Out of all the crypto, all the trading pairs for the first week were Hex and something else. Like this community saw that, so I think this is a good place to do that. Anyway, modern simplicity. Are you in the 0.3% fee range or the 1 range? I'm still trying to learn which to choose. Why do majority choose 0.3 over the 1%? Because somebody's always going to pick something differently to try to get a better rate, right? And so it probably traded at 1% for a long time. And then somebody was like, well, maybe I can get more fees if I did the 0.3%, right? And now all of that liquidity has moved to that side, right? Because the fees will tend to go down over time, right? Because people would be willing to take less returns on their money. So fees should tend to always go down over time, right? In this kind of shit. That's just how I see it working. And in the 1%, there's barely any trading. So all you're doing is like ratio correction trades. Like somebody places an order for something, and because you have, say, these 10 different pools of 10 different ratios of different things, if the ratio for the hex price is off in one area, then somebody's going to try to trade that to make fucking money, because that's how it works, right? So somebody's already programmed all that shit like right now. So we have to look for other opportunities, in my opinion, right? Because that's very, very traded out by people who have bots and shit that I don't know about. When will there be liquidity pool in ICOSA and ICOSA W? There probably won't be. However, well, there could potentially be in the future, but I don't think anytime soon. Probably at least a year or longer, I would think. But could move faster than that, but it seems like a very long time. I don't know if anybody can help me with this, but if you look at Dex Screener, actually, let's do a little bit of interlude. Let's do this. Let's go to Dex Screener, see if I can find it again. I just saw a pair for ETH F and ETH, I think it was. Yes, ETH F and wrapped ETH. And this is on Ethereum, right? This is on Ethereum. It just launched. So somebody just created a pair. Like, when did they create this? 11 hours ago. So they created this pair. I don't know if this is the appropriate one, but it's fucking tanking, right? Like, you guys can see this. It's only been live traded pair. This is ETH and ETH W on Ethereum. So somebody would have bridged this in and then provided liquidity with it. I feel like that's how that would work. Now, this question I have for you guys. If you look at this, I tried to find this. This is on a V2 version too, right? But ETH, right? Can anybody verify that it is ETH, as in like the ETH that we're referencing, the other fair Ethereum network? Or is this ETH some other fucking bullshit? I don't know. And I wasn't sure how to tell if it was, right? Because if you come over here, I think I did this earlier. I said trade on Uniswap, right? We didn't use this, but we used this. And it takes me over here. It says I can import this. Okay, ETH, right? But is this ETH like, I know nothing about that ETH. If that's the same one and the ticker symbol didn't change and it's just, I try to find the contract address and compare them, but I wasn't able to do that. I don't know where I left off on that process or whatever. Appreciate the prep you did for the stream. Hey, thanks, bro. I try to make it good. I want people to get value. Yes, bullish in the hizzle. We fucking did it. Yes. After the V3 license is open for everyone, Uniswap will launch V4, I believe. If I was in Uniswap's position, that's what I would do, and do another 2-year license. So everybody's fucking behind you again. I think that's that makes sense to me. What's good, bro? South Bay Multimedia Tech Installers. Whoa, that is a long name, dude. But cool. I'm actually doing some smart tech shit in my house and get cameras and the security system and all that shit. And it's fun shit. It's interesting. Does it make sense to mint Zen on Polygon for lower fees? I don't know. I haven't heard that Zen is going to be on Polygon personally. I thought it was going to be on ETH, ETHW, and Ethereum. I didn't know it was going to be on Polygon. Should look at contract address to verify. Yes, thank you. If I remember, I will do that, or we can do it in a second, actually. Compare the address for ETHW from CoinGecko to a CoinMarketCap. Okay, ETHW. Let's go back there for a second. Let's see if we can do this real quick. Okay. So you guys can see this? There we go. So let's walk through this here. Compare the address for ETHW from CoinGecko. Okay, let's go here. ETH right here. So we have D right here, D30A. So let's go to Coin Market, and then we're going to is this Coin Market Cap? Yes. Then we're going to talk about Hedron, why the ratio for these is going to be off. Okay. So what are we looking for? ETH. I find it way easier in Nomics, actually. I don't use Coin Market Cap. And what we're going to look up, ETH. Right, just makes it easier to find here. Okay, so $1.20, 29, and where's the contract address for this? It should be here somewhere. Contract address, show more. I don't see a contract address. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Block Explorer, I think. Let's take a look here and see if the contract address is here. Blocks. No, I don't think it is. Doesn't look like it. Let me check the chat, see if anybody says anything that I'm missing here. Nope. Okay. I'm not sure. I'll have to dive into it more, but I don't think that's probably I think people would probably not enjoy me trying to dive into it. I don't know. If you guys want to try to see me fucking solve that shit right now, let me know, and I'll pull it up on the screen, and I can try to figure out if that's the same pair, because when you look at this, ETH and ETHW, this pair just fucking opened. what is this telling us, right? Like, what is this data telling us relative to this data here, right? This is $1.29. Is it really $1.29? You do the math and you do this ratio between ETH and ETHW when it's only been launched for 11 fucking hours and most of the market has no idea, right? So let me know if you want me to dig into that. Without further ado, though, we're going to talk about, or get two more here. And then we're going to talk about Hedron for a moment. We come back to this. On Polygon Zen will be worth less because the fees are so much lower, and you will get a Pulse copy for your Ethereum Zen. Oh, that's not bad too. You get a free copy of shit, right? Although we don't know how much this can be worth. Look at ETHW, right? Good evening, Roof Dog. Good to see you. It's been awesome to watch you grow so fast in the crypto game. I got in during PLSX SAC. I have learned so much with you guys, deep diving into everything. Just want to say thanks. Hey, bro, thank you. That was a long time ago, right? Back in January. That was an eternity ago. That is around when I got into crypto. That's fucking come a long way, right? That's ETH, not ETHW. No, I know the pair is not ETHW, though. The pair is ETH. That's why I looked up ETH, because the pairs, look at this, the pair here is ETH, right? Not wrapped ETH. This is just wrapped ETH. It's not ETHW. They're two different things. Unless you knew that and you're just trying to point something out, please let me know. Where is this thing? Oh, here we go. Why is this going to be? Yes, it's always good to learn together. We can all here to learn. Sweet. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to continue going through this. And please, if you guys disagree, that's the valuable points. Like, if you disagree with something, let me know. Like, be like, hey, this doesn't make sense. I'm going to ask you why. And if you don't have a good reason why, then like clearly somebody's not prepared, right? But think it out loud. It's okay. We've got several reasons here. So I think one of like the coolest or most interesting reasons is, and I'll have to pull this up separately and then share it with you, is the growth rate. What do we know about price? Well, we know that price only moves for demand, right? We just talked about that earlier. What happens when the price goes outside of the ratio correct range? What happens to the market? Well, the market moves it so that it's back in there. Well, when we see these growth rates, take that into consideration. Okay, let's pull this up. This is Hedron versus Hex. Okay. Hedron holders, Hex holders. This data is from August 28th. As you can see, I've had a bunch of data here, but I've been tracking it for a while, right? So I just hid those to make it look cleaner up until today, right? This morning. That means over this period of time, Hex has grown by 0.39%. Cool. Hedron, the number of holders over this period of time, has gained by 9.43%. Let's pull up Hedron and let's take a gander at this data. I have never looked at this data before, so we will be looking at this shit together to understand this, right? So August, let's go back to August and see what this looked like on a chart. October, there we go. May, September, August, right here, right over here. Look at that chart. Wow, I'm glad I fucking pulled this shit up to show you fuckers. Okay. Now let's go back to my data. Not that. We can talk about that later. This means the difference in growth between this and this is just the division of those two, right? It's a 24x. Hedron is growing 24 times faster than Hex is in terms of holders. These are people like maybe I have multiple addresses with Hedron, right? But it's more interest in there, and you get to see how that effing plays out in the chart, right? We looked at this shit. We understand a 24x difference in the people coming on board makes a difference. And now I could be wrong, right? Like maybe this, you can have a 24x increase in something relative to something else and the price doesn't move, but gets a lot more challenging. A lot more challenging, right? Because if some whale is dumping, right, then that number's not going to be going up. It's going to be going down, right? And we have a 24x increase in the number of people. And you see this. Let's see if we can see the price difference here. We have, looks like 6 zeros. Yeah, 6 zeros and a 9 up to where we currently are. So let's pull up a calculator. 0.000000389 divided by 0.0000069, like that. A 4x. Wow, that's crazy. We've had a 4x increase in the value in like 4 months in Hedron, and it's going to continue because the growth rate, right? We just talked about this. The growth rate. This doesn't just stop overnight, right? This doesn't just go away. You've got a much faster growth rate. When you look at growth rates over time, you can see if they're increasing or decreasing. So I've been doing that over this period of time. Is the rate of growth going? Is this 24x going up or is this 24x going down? Right? What does that tell us? Well, if the number's going up, goes from 24x to 26x to 27x to 30x, well, that means that Hedron is going even faster than Hex, right? That's bullish. What if this number's been going down, right? Then it's not bullish, right? Like if it goes from 24 to 20, that means that the growth rate between these two is coming closer together, right? Either the growth rate of Hedron is slowing down or the growth rate of Hex is increasing, right? But what I have been seeing in the actual market by tracking this data is that it's been hovering around 20, 17, 18. No, actually it went down to like around 17x. So the Hedron is growing at about 7. I've tweeted that. You can look at those tweets. Like 17x relative to Hex's growth rate, right? And then ETH and ETHW launched. And then there was a drop in users on Hex. And Hedron just kept plowing forwards. And then there was another drop in Hex holders. And Hedron kept going forward. And it kept happening until we got to the point where we're at right now. And it went from a 17x to maybe an 18x to a 21x to a 22x to a 23x to a 24x. Not necessarily as sequentially as I just put that, but that has been the story I've been watching as this plays out. And we've seen this in the price chart. So that is one of the factors why I say it's number one in terms of bullishness. Why, when you look at these numbers, right? This ratio, this is the liquidity on V3. We just went through this. If you're tuning in now, go watch the beginning of the video. Like, there's a big difference here in terms of liquidity that is going to be corrected in the market, because what you're watching right now gives you that opportunity to see this. All right. It's not even, you can't see this shit on V2. This is why V3 is 1,000 times fucking better, because the rest of the market's looking at V2. They don't understand this shit. They don't know. They're still using V2, where you can't see any of this data. Like, it's crazy how valuable this is. Now, also, the next point, ICOSA. There's a boatload of ICOSA Hedron, right? Like the Hedron that's been staked into the ICOSA protocol. There's a lot of it over there. Like, hundreds of billions of Hedron has been staked. Now, when you look at what is going to happen, right? There's going to be a boatload, a shit metric ton of Hedron that's burned. Or if you don't believe that, then that would mean that you don't believe Hex is valuable as a HSI. So if you believe that to be true, if you think that Hex is valuable, then these auctions are probably going to go somewhere close to market value. Maybe there'll be some deals at the auctions for the HSI. Maybe $1,000 Hex stake you could pick up for $800. I think that may or may not happen depending on how organized people get. But I think that some of the small ones or really big ones you probably have a better chance with, because maybe less people are going to be paying attention to the small ones, the big stones. That means the size of T-share stakes, right? But at 80 cents on the dollar, as in 1,000, and you get it for 800, 80 cents on the dollar, a boatload, a tremendous boatload of Hedron is going to be burned. So what happens? Is the demand for Hedron going to slow down? Yes or no? Answer these questions. Is the demand for Hedron, wait, I've been tracking this data. Where is it again? Let me show you guys. I've been tracking the data since the 28th of August. And over the last 2 weeks, the growth rate has increased. It hasn't decreased. It's increased. And for growth rates to change, crazy shit has to happen pretty quickly, which could happen in crypto. We never know. But on average, you think it's going to continue, but it's going to start to trend in a different direction. Right? So if this wasn't trending up, like it has been, and it kept trending down and went from 17 to 14 to 13 to 12, right? We won't have as strong of a case. But because we know that this data is good, and I've been tracking it from August, I would see this continue. The demand level will continue. So you're going to have this giant supply crunch because there's still going to be demand. Demand's not going to change, but there's going to be a big step down in terms of coins available. Because right now they're in people's wallets. Right now people have them. Right? They have the capacity to sell to the market, but the supply is drastically going to come down. Think of like the housing market, right? You have buyers of houses. There are people who want to buy fucking property. And then you have people who want to sell houses. Well, what do you think happens during market turmoil? Well, I don't really want to move right now. Maybe it makes sense for me to wait when we don't have somebody making fucking horrible policy decisions who is very corrupt in our government, right? So the number of demand could drop, right? And then the number of people willing to sell their house, right, may drop as well. And that affects liquidity. And you've got to understand how that affects liquidity and what the ratio of which those happen, right? And you don't see the data in the housing market. So we don't get to tell. All we do is get to pontificate about the direction of the market. V3 gives us that insight. We can see it in V3. We can see all this data in V3. Nobody else is fucking paying attention to this shit. The 52 people who are watching are the only people who get this shit. This is a message to your audience. I know a lot about crypto. Awesome. What's good, Green Day? Thank you so much for the super chat. You're awesome. I have been in the crypto game 3 to 4 times longer than Sam. I am $1,800 richer because of advice I got from SS less than 90 days ago. Listen to SS. Oh, sweet. What an awesome message there. You're fucking great. 3 to 4x and about $1,800 richer. That's awesome. You're awesome. Hey, thanks for sharing that, dude. And remember, just not financial advice. You should do whatever the fuck you believe is the right thing to do, right? Hexwood, better not FOMO in and wait for cheap fees. Paul, what's good? Should we do before November 13th? Yes, sir. If that's your intention of doing this, I would highly recommend. If you have to already make the decision, don't blame it on me that you fucking made the decision, right? But if that's the decision you want to make, why would you wait? There's zero value in waiting. Take that action right now. Because all it's going to do is cause you issues. And maybe you're like, okay, I have a certain amount of money that I want to put in. If it's $500, then just do it all at once. If you're doing like 20 grand or 30 grand, maybe you want to do like $1,000 a day or $1,500 a day or something, right? But I think you're going to watch it run away from you partially before you're fully in. If you don't do it very like quickly, like other people are capturing this information. Like I'm doing this, 53 people are watching, so 53 people understand what the fuck's happening right now. But like minimum, but I'm sure it's happening in other ways in the marketplace, and I think this is going to happen pretty quickly when it does. Right, it's already running. We already know that Hex has been fucking flat over this time period, right? It's still fucking 3 cents. And yet Hedron has had a 4x in the same time period. And it's going to continue, in my opinion, right? Can't say for definitive, not financial advice. Should people buy Hedron before? Yes, I think I just looked at that one. South Bay, yeah, I was going to wait. Not too long, though. I've been waiting for Hedron to dip under. Bro, you should just get some in. Hey, learn how to do, if you have time where you can sit at your computer for a couple hours. And remember, guys, it's not that serious. Like if you don't do this, but like one thing you could potentially do if somebody really wants to go in and get the best value from something. Remember, value costs something. That's why it's valuable, right? There's the only reason there is value is because there's a cost associated with it. So, and it might only be a couple minutes, but what you can do is set up a range order. You can set up the range order right below the price, right? You might not be 0.0, it might not be 5 zeros or 2.5, but it could be help get you lower than the current market price because you're earning fees, and you would set it up right below the market price anyway. So how this would work, let me show you, because hopefully this will be helpful to people. If you guys enjoy this, I'm going to pull up another one of these browser board. If you guys enjoy this, let me know what you think of in the comments, and we should do more of these things here. Okay. What were we just talking about? Okay. Yeah, I was going to wait. I've been waiting. Okay, so let's do the range order here. Let's explain how this shit fucking works. Get to go on our drawing lesson here. We're going to change the color here. Boom, right? Okay, and then we're going to say that the price of the underlying is somewhere in the middle here, right? Now, the range order, right? But this price here in the middle, right? Let's say we're talking about Hedron. This price in the middle is like this, though, right? It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's what this price is. It's just back and forth over time on this, okay? Now, what you can do is set up a range order. Right? So you can set up a range order. Excuse me. Out here. Let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger because that's pretty fucking small. You set up your range order out here, but you're going to have to sit by your computer because there's no tools out there. By the way, if there's any developers who want to hit me up about this, like, and they know how to code this shit, like, this is a feature that Uniswap should for sure have. Like, I don't know why Uniswap doesn't have this feature, because it would provide so much more value to the marketplace, and they would continue to dominate the fuck out of people. Okay. You have to manually exit. What that means is, let's grab this thing here. The price of the market, whoops, not there. This one here. I'm trying to grab the pink line. Try again. There we go. Okay, so the price here, right? And we're going to follow this, the line, the pink line there, right? Because that's the market price. Why is this doing this shit? Come on, bro. I'm really okay. So the price is just going to be following this line back and forth in the ratio here. And if you set up your range order right here at the bottom of this, then when it comes through, see how it comes through and it comes through on the other side? That means you're all into the token, right? So say if it was USDC and Hedron, when the price starts over here, you just have all USDC. As the price comes through to this side, now you're all in Hedron, and you didn't pay any slippage. You just opened up a position, but then it obviously went back through the other side, right? So you had to sit at your computer, and once you're through this, once you're all the way on the other side, withdraw your position, right? So sometimes that's 2 or 3 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour or two, right? But that way you can get out, and now you have a Hedron position that you didn't have to pay fees for. You actually got paid fees to do. So you could definitely be doing that. Oh shit, I don't think you guys can see anything. Fuck. My bad, guys. That was not helpful. Damn, bro. I fucked that one up. Let me show you guys again. My bad. Okay. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Redo. Let's go back through. Hey, thanks for being patient, guys. Okay. Market V3. This is how liquidity looks. Can you guys see this now? Yes. Perfect. Okay. Fuck that one up royally. This is the distribution of liquidity. This here is a range order. This is just the box I'm carrying everything in. And this pink line, if I can select it and move it, is the fucking, why is this having so many issues here, bro? What am I doing wrong? You guys see what I'm doing wrong? This is the fucking price. Let's just move it like this. Okay. Now, this price here, there we go, is going to follow this, right? The little pink line is going to go back and forth along this line. Inside of this, the red box here, which is the liquidity distribution around this. Now, you can provide liquidity on either side of this position. You do not have to provide liquidity all on the same side. So what you can do is set up your, say if this is say this is USDC, right? Let's say USDC and Hedron, right? Because that's what we were just talking about. Now, this here, as the price moves from where it is up and down this oscillation of like the curves here, back and forth. Come on, bro. Why you're having so much trouble with this fucking moving this thing around? As it goes back and forth, you get on this side, you're all USD value, right? Because the price is over here. So this is a single-sided stake on Uniswap V3. When the price goes through to this side right here, right? See how it's a little bit on the one side of it? It's probably hard to see, but a little bit pink shows up on this side. That means now you're in all Hedron. So you'd have to manually withdraw this, and that you've been basically able to collect fees instead of pay fees to switch over your position. Thanks for being patient on that one here. Sam, poor man. What's up, man? Sam and GOC have reinvigorated me. I was always a good trader. I've made over 500 trades the past 2 weeks, mostly arbitrage. Oh, wow, dude. You are far more into that. I've never really traded, but then like, and I know that people in this community can't stand trading. But it's like you have information before the market has this information. And in crypto, there's no such thing as insider trading, right? Which is an illegal thing. It's just like, how close are you? Because it's decentralized, right? Before, who had the information about what we're talking about? People in fucking Wall Street. So of course they're going to rate people because they have the information before everybody else. Like, duh. You don't have to be super fucking intelligent to understand how Wall Street fucking rapes everybody because they had the liquidity. No shit. Now it's open in the market and we get to see it. So it's decentralized. So there is opportunities for arbitrage. There's all these crazy things. I don't do, most of my shit is just sitting in Hedron, in all honesty. I have a lot of fucking Hedron. You are not sharing your screen. Yes, I fucked that one up. And I think everybody else said that they couldn't see it there. So thanks for that. So I should have a small range to earn a higher fee. Yes. Or to have a, if you want to be on one side of the market, if you want to enter into that position. But remember, if you're not sitting at your computer, as the price goes back the other direction, you're going to flip to the other side. So that's why I said you have to be at your computer, because if you're in all USDC and the price goes to the other side, now you're in all Hedron. When that happens, it could take 20 minutes to get back into the range, or it could happen very quickly, like a minute or less, or it could be this thing over here for like an hour or 2 hours. But you have to be at your computer and be able to press exit once it's on this side. Otherwise, it's going to go back through to the other side. Or you can hopefully wait until next time and catch it again. Sam, you really got me to do my first arb trade, Hex Hedron Maxi, back to Hex, and I made good. Fuck yes! Oh, that's awesome, awesome. Oh, Mighty Hexton, you're fucking great. I'm fantastic. I'm happy to hear that. I think I honestly think with the stuff, the ratio shit, like nobody else is talking about this stuff, guys. Like what you're learning right now, I've never heard even like Richard Hart talk about this kind of shit, right? People don't think about this as a percentage. I've never once heard anybody else say that to think about the dollar amount in liquidity, right? We have a dollar amount in liquidity. Here we go, text screener, $188,000 and $118,000. That's how people think about liquidity. They never go in deeper to understand that that means liquidity is lopsided or not. And what do we know when it's lopsided? The ratio has to go back to 50-50. It has to go back to 50-50. Like if you believe anything that I fucking said, you understand that the ratio eventually is going to be 50-50. That does not mean that the ratio could go more extreme for a period of time, right? That shit does happen. So don't get like foolish. Like don't like leverage yourself where you can't wait several months, right? It is possible for shit to get fucked up for prolonged periods of time before market participants correct the abnormality. But information spreads. I'm not saying this is the case, but information does spread pretty quickly in crypto. And I can see this closing up this gap pretty quickly. For my personal belief, right? Don't hold me to this, but my personal belief is that this is going to close, right? So let's look at this last thing and then we can wrap this shit up. Unless you guys want to chat some more. And I'll get into that. Cooking the books. Love it. Let's do this. Yes. Alan, thanks. Good to see you here, bro. Alan, I set up LP and bought a token and brought it to my range with ETH, and now it is in my range earning my fees. Yes, you can always change your position too if you need to so that you can get fees all the time. Loving the low liquidity allows me to move things like a whale. Good practice for when my bags are heavier. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. Okay, let's understand Hedron, right? Okay. Hedron right now allows you to, and I'm actually going to talk about something slightly different here, but we're going to get into this, but I don't think a lot of people are not talking about this in the Hedron community as well. And I'm going to share my screen when I pull that up. But if you think about the value for Hex, if you have $1,000 worth of Hex, or $1,000, let's start there. If you have $1,000 and you like Hex, then like the more rational or logical people or people with smaller bags are going to want to take the effort to get something at a good value, especially with people in this community. This community is just fucking intelligent people. Or just more, they understand crypto at a much deeper layer than like most of people in crypto. But that's going to spread very quickly. It's already happening. It's already spreading very quickly. It's going to get into other communities too, right? Like intelligence wants more people to know it, period. It's like a fucking virus, right? Why am I talking to you guys? Because it's information. Information wants to be out. Information wants to be free. Like information, that's why everything's like constantly like less privacy, because information wants to be free and out in the world, right? Now, you sell $1,000 of, you could buy $1,000 of Hex and you could get a just Hex, right? But if you go through and you take a look at this, what if you put that $1,000 into Hedron and then you were able to actually buy, and then I'm not even talking about the price, assuming the price just stays the same. What if you took that $1,000 of that you were going to deploy to the market and you bought Hedron, and then you use that Hedron to buy a discounted Hex stake of say $1,000 is now you get to pick it up for $900. So that means you could buy like $1,100 worth of shit, right? Or you could buy that $900 stake and have $100 left over. of Hedron, right? Because you just got $1,000 hex stake for $900, right? And you could repeat the process. So if you were to repeat the process, you would take that HSI and you'd sell it to Icosa, right? Say Icosa is selling at $1.30 and you get a certain number of those tokens that equals $900, right? Well, then you can sell it to the marketplace and you get to go through and buy hex. You can sell it to Icosa, you get $900 worth of value, or you can buy it at an auction for $900 worth of value, right? But right now, that opportunity is big because of the price differential here, right? Where if the Hedron price goes above, you guys see this? Yes. Okay. When Hedron's price goes above what it currently is, it provides even more buying power, right? And people understand. They're like, hey, would I like more buying power for this thing that I like, right? Like if I was like, hey, the only way to buy food over the next year is going to be if you own bullets. You have to trade bullets for food, right? You would be like, oh, okay, let me start to buy bullets. I'll buy a shitload of bullets because I like food and I want more food. Well, then what do you think is going to happen to the supply of bullets? Right? The supply of bullets is going to go down because people are going to be buying the fuck out of this shit, right? That's what Hedron is here. Hedron, you're buying the bullets to an auction. The only way you can play this auction, people like hex, right? The community is growing, even though it's growing way slower than Hedron's growing. It is still growing. So you do want positive growth. If you have negative growth, it's not a good thing, right? But in a bear market, it's still growing. It's at 0.4%. Remember, let's pull that up again. I think it was this one. It's at 0.4%. So it's still growing. And this is about a month and a half, right? So it's growing pretty healthily. It's not like anything extreme, right? But we're in a bear market, right? So you would expect growth to be down, but it's still growing. But Hedron's just like blowing out of the fucking water in comparison. Now, in order to get Hedron up in value where you couldn't buy it at such a big discount, or would cost the same amount of money to do that, you would need a price of with 4 zeros, 4952, right? As of the T-share rate this morning, or like 2 hours ago before the show. That means that there should be about 11.6x between the current price of Hedron as of earlier versus now. 11.6x. We've already seen Hedron do a 4.4x over the last since August. Since I started tracking this at the end of August, we've seen a 4.2x increase in Hedron price. Think about this, guys. If you had, say, $35,000 times 4.2, that's $150,000. You just went in a bear market. In 2 months, you're $35,000. And I don't know, but I have access to more than $35,000 in crypto. So there's a big opportunity here. This is going to continue to climb, in my opinion. And maybe we see by November, let's actually do a price prediction here that you should not trade on at all, but it's not a recommendation, but I'm going to predict the price of like how many X's. That's what we're going to do. We're going to try to see how many X's. This way we can know how right or wrong I am. November 13th is when the auctions start, right? That's when people can purchase them. So given that is about a month away, right? So we've got the 4th through, so a month and 10 days, right? Okay, so we've got a month and 10 days until auctions start to come out. Also, another thing that I forgot to mention that I didn't share, the number of HSIs that have been sold to Icosa continues to climb. Actually, I should show you guys that data real quick before I do this prediction so you guys have all the information. more information. So if we come over here, you guys see this? Yes. Okay, come over here. See these two things? Let's open this up. This is ICOSA holders, and this is the number of HSIs sold to the ICOSA contract. Look at this. Since I started tracking on the 27th of September, this number has increased by 12%. 12% of people who have HSIs, or like not 12% of people who have HSIs, but this number has been has increased 12% in like, so what was this? The 27th to the 4th. The 27th. Wow. Holy shit. Feels like I've been tracking this for longer, but crypto happened really fast. 12% in 8 days. That's growing quick, guys. That's growing quick. So what does that mean? That means that when you look at this, there's a lot more HSIs coming onto market than the first like 2,800 in those first couple of days, and people are not seeing this shit. You guys are here listening. Hopefully my looks like my internet might be a little funky, so apologize for that. Sure, don't apologize. I'll get a new computer at some point, hopefully this month, if I can hit my goals. If I can hit my goals this month for my other business, I will. I'm going to be buying a new computer, so let's get it. Basically, I'm super bullish on Hedron. I'm thankful that I'm in this moment where I can take advantage of this. And for you guys, this has been a awesome journey for the people who have been paying attention to this shit. We're about to go on a wild ride. Didn't think that during a bear market you could have multiple X's, did you? Right? Now think about being able to have multiple X's in a bear market when everybody else is down 90%. Right? There's crazy opportunities that are happening right now that people don't realize. What if you had all your money and you just had a 4X on it from Hedron? And that's just in the last, since I've been tracking it, right? But we could have another 11X. So my price prediction is, I think on the low side for Hedron, we have another, say, 3 to 4X's. That would be on the low side for Hedron. Things just go Humpty Dumpty, you know, Biden's still doing stupid shit, and there's a distraction of some sort, right? I think that for it to be low, I think there'd probably have to be a distraction, maybe like a 2X if there's a pretty good distraction. So maybe 2 to 4X on the upper side, meaning things continue to go the way they go. Information continues to get out to the marketplace. I think getting to something like 7X to 8, 9X could be, I mean, like under good conditions, I think you see 9X, especially if hex price starts to move. Although I think this might hold hex price down for a while, because people can do other things, right, with their money instead of just put it in fucking hex and stake it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just not something that I do with a large portion of my bag, because I want access to it. That's why I don't have a 401k. I want access to my money to do shit, to move it around. Not all the time, but where I see appropriate to move it to. So I hope you guys found the value of this video. If you guys did, let me know in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter. There's a link down below. Hit me up on Instagram. There's also a link down below. If you like cool shit, if you like peptides and shit, you can check out thetriggeredbrand.com, thetriggeredbrand.com. If you'd like a consulting call, you can check out that link right there. A couple hours a week, I do those. Let's see, any questions here? MJ, what if eventually there's not enough Hedron to buy HSIs? That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon, because like there's people who have Hedron that are willing to sell it, right? And there's like 1 trillion fucking shares of it, right? So people, as the price goes higher and higher, more people will be willing to sell it, and then it will drive the price back down, right? And then at some point it will have to catch back up. But like, I don't see that happening at any time, because you can't get everybody to have like a consensus on that. There's always going to be there. I still have to pull the trigger on any LP, blah. I'm overwhelmed with everything that's happening. hey, don't worry about it. Just take a little bit. If $100 is like a lot to you, then maybe don't do it. But like if you have $100, go over to BSC and do it over there. If you're not sure how to do that, you can use All-Chain Bridge. Check it out. It's pretty easy. I did it. Just be aware that sometimes it could take 30 minutes or more. If you use All-Chain Bridge, it took that time for me. It'd be great to have to do that though. Okay, I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here after this comment. It'd be great to see a transcription of these videos so that people in other languages can translate them. People in Europe are dying to figure out, oh, dude, if anybody wants to do that shit, I need some serious help with growing my shit. But I'm also working on being more consistent, doing shit on my own, like doing my own streams, right? Instead of just doing them with GRC, which is, it's good. I enjoy those and I don't want to stop that because they're awesome, because I learn, I get to see other people's perspectives, right? But I think doing them on my own is also super valuable too. So appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon. See you guys tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. EST as well. So we're going to be on again at 11 a.m. Peace out.